Chapter 463 Divine Ice Crystal. The cold spring was icy cold. Its temperature was at least in the negatives. However, the strange thing was that it didn't freeze up. After entering the spring, Hua Yua could clearly sense chilly origin energy rippling through the water. Although such ice-type origin energy didn't affect him, the chilly aura that it possessed was very pure. No wonder Nan Shuishui claimed that this spring could nourish a human's body. The spring was very deep. Hua Yua circulated his soul power and sank down. The deeper he went, the lower the temperature became. If it were any other ordinary soul master here, his soul power would be drained very quickly. However, Hua Yua wasn't affected at all. His martial soul was even being nourished. The lights around also started to dim. However, this didn't affect Hua Yua at all, even though the darkness and cold would have greatly affected a soul master of the same rank as him. Although his spiritual power couldn't reach as far in the water, it was already very strong. Apart from the fact that it extended at a slower speed, Hua Yua wasn't drained much in this aspect either. The deeper he went, the faster his spiritual power extended downward. Even the Earth Dragon sect wasn't clear on what was going on down below. Of course, Hua Yua had to be cautious to keep himself from getting into any trouble. Nan Shuishui had told Hua Yua that this spring was around 30 meters deep. At the very bottom, even a soul Duluo like her wouldn't be able to resist it. The cave was located at around a depth of between 30 to 35 meters. However, Hua Yua sensed that the depth of this spring didn't seem to be only 30 meters. When he was 30 meters down, he felt a very strong surge of cold. It felt as if it were coming the bottom, just below where the strong surge of cold originated from. However, he discovered that the mouth of the spring seemed to be down there at the bottom. The mouth was very large. A person could get through it. Hua Yua could sense a strong, deep blue color using his spiritual detection. This showed how cold it was down there. He was very curious about this spring mouth. The colder a place was, the better it was for him to cultivate his ultimate ice soul power. To him, it felt very similar to the ice fire yin yang well. This was something that he hadn't expected at all. However, Hua Yua needed to breathe even though he wasn't affected by the cold and darkness. Even though he could hold his breath for a long time, he couldn't do it forever. Let me find the cave opening first. As he thought, Hua Yua continued to use his soul power to control his body as he dived down. Very soon, he was at a depth of 25 meters. His diving speed was much quicker than the ancestors of the Earth Dragon sect. After all, he didn't have to protect himself from the cold. The walls around the spring were cold and slippery. Touching them was like touching manifold mysterious ice. As Hua Yua dived down, he kept on searching for the cave opening. This cave was rumored to exist naturally. It was originally not a well, but the natural mouth of a spring. After the Earth Dragon sect gained control of this place, they built a well specifically for it. This was why they designed mechanisms when they first constructed the well. If one wasn't the leader of the Earth Dragon sect, it was very difficult to find these mechanisms. Hua Yua followed the walls and felt his way to the cave opening. With the help of his spiritual power, he quickly located a bulge. Normally, one would press down on such a bulge when they felt it. However, the Earth Dragon sect designed it in the reverse. Hua Yua grabbed hold of that bulge and pulled it up. He used more than 40% of his soul power before the bulge moved up slightly. After this, he turned around and swam to the wall on the other side. He felt an ordinary dent on it. This dent didn't exist previously. It only appeared after he meddled with the bulge earlier. He pressed hard on the dent, and the soft zaza sound was heard. Hua Yua returned to the bulge and pressed it down this time. He pressed it all the way down until it disappeared. The entire wall started to shake slightly. Hua Yua turned around and saw a door that could only fit a single person slowly opening. The weird thing was that there was a strong surge of cold as the door slowly opened. Even Hua Yua could sense a tinge of chill, though he possessed an ultimate ice martial soul. What a low temperature. Hua Yua was in great awe and focused his attention on it. The door slowly opened, and Hua Yua rushed forward. It was clearly a cold spring outside. However, this door seemed to possess some magical force. Not a drop of the cold spring water seeped past it. Even as Hua Yua entered, the cold spring water was filtered from his body. He instantly became very dry. As he was dried, he felt an extreme sense of chill sweep over him. Gusts of chilly air carried visible icy elements that surged towards Hua Yua's body. However, it was a pity that they were stopped by Hua Yua's Ice Empress armor. Not only did they not cause him any harm, but they even stimulated Hua Yua's ultimate ice soul power. Even though Hua Yua was using his Ice Empress right now, he could still sense the situation in the cavern using his spiritual power. This cavern couldn't be considered very large. It was filled with unknown mineral stones, and the temperature was very low. It was similar to the extreme chill ice spring. Its temperature was comparable. If Hua Yua's abilities were still at the level they were when he had first encountered the extreme chill ice spring, he wouldn't be able to bear such a low temperature. He didn't rush to venture in. He only carefully observed his surroundings at the cave opening. At the same time, the Ice Empress started calling out in his spiritual sea. Although it was unknown what kind of ice-type treasure belonged here, it was clear that such an extreme level of cold wouldn't exist for no reason. Even at the core of the extreme north, the temperature wasn't so low. Jade green lights flashed, brightening their surroundings. The Ice Empress silently appeared beside Hua Yua. The light from her body lit up everything around them. Hua Yua was immediately stunned. Hua Yua wasn't the only one who was stunned. The Ice Empress was also stunned. The cavern looked extremely beautiful as it was lit up by the Ice Empress jade green light. It almost seemed surreal. The entire cavern was formed using all types of crystals. These crystals were jade blue, but it was likely that the Ice Empress jade green light had affected their color a little. They should, in fact, be deep blue in color. These crystals were smooth and transparent. They looked ethereally beautiful under the jade green light. Their beauty was almost indescribable. It was as if Hua Yua and the Ice Empress had entered an immortal realm. The ground, walls and ceiling were filled with such crystals. They varied greatly and were all glowing brightly. The different intensities of the jade blue crystals brightened the cavern such that every minor detail could be clearly observed. Hua Yua was in awe as he asked, Ice Empress, what is this? The Ice Empress was a little stunned as she looked at everything around her. After this, her figure flashed before she drifted away. Although she existed as a spirit and a spiritual entity, her affinity with the ice element was still very strong. She could sense that the chill in the cavern was surging towards her as she flew out. After this, the chill started to revolve around her. This seems like the legendary manifold mysterious ice cavern. How is this possible? Why is there such a place here? God. This is unbelievable. The Ice Empress voice seemed to have turned hysterical. It was Hua Yua's first time seeing her so shocked. No, this isn't the manifold mysterious ice cavern yet. This is the divine ice crystal that accompanies the manifold mysterious ice cavern. There are so many divine ice crystals here. I'm sure the manifold mysterious ice cavern exists here. This is too unbelievable. How is it possible that such a place exists in the human world? The Ice Empress appeared to have gone a little crazy as she kept on dancing in the cavern. The light from her body lit up the entire cavern. The cavern couldn't be considered very large. It was only 30 meters in length, but Hua Yua could sense that there were streaks of light blue mist revolving around the Ice Empress as she flew within the cavern. Even he was in awe of the extremely low temperature of these streaks of mist. Such a low temperature was completely unimaginable. The Ice Empress flew for a good 15 minutes before she stopped. Hua Yua breathed in the cold air and felt as if he had to circulate his ultimate ice soul power to dispel the chill. This meant that the cold here even surpassed his ultimate ice. It was close to absolute zero. Yuao, how did you find this place? How did you find it? The Ice Empress quickly regained her awareness and returned to Hua Yua. She grabbed his shoulders. Apart from the look of excitement on her face, she was also greatly sentimental. An elder brought me here. It's the location of their sect. What's wrong? Ice Empress. What's the manifold mysterious ice cavern? And the divine ice crystal. The Ice Empress took in a deep breath and tried to calm her emotions. She said, the manifold mysterious ice cavern is an ice-type ultimate place. Let me give you an example. If the Snow Empress and I could have found the manifold mysterious ice cavern before we become your spirits, we wouldn't have needed to find any way to achieve a breakthrough. Our abilities would have been able to overcome any bottleneck we faced. In the near future, we would have definitely been able to challenge DTN. To be more direct, the manifold mysterious ice cavern is a treasure ground for ice-type cultivators like us. Why was DTN able to overcome 8 consecutive bottlenecks and become the god of all beasts, and even invincible? This is because he managed to gain control of a treasure ground, the lake of life in the core region of the Great Sardo Forest. He used the immense life energy there to nourish himself, allowing him to achieve what he has today. However, the truth is that the lake of life can nourish any soul beast. He's not the only one who can benefit from it. This is because the lake of life is life type. In fact, it isn't completely compatible with his darkness type. Even so, he is still able to cultivate to such a level. But the manifold mysterious ice cavern is completely compatible with us. It is as valuable as the lake of life to us. After hearing her words, Hua Yuao was instantly astonished. He had personally seen the lake of life before. At the core of the lake of life was life gold. In addition, it wasn't even lacking in amount. It was the place that held the lifeline of the entire Great Stardow Forest. If the manifold mysterious ice cavern could compare to the lake of life like what the Ice Empress had said, it would be completely unbelievable. Ice Empress, is there no manifold mysterious ice cavern at the core of the extreme north? Hua Yuao asked. The Ice Empress was in a bit of daze. She seemed to still be struck with disbelief. Another voice sounded at this moment. Yes, there's at least another one. As a light projection flashed, the Sky Dream Iceworm appeared beside the Ice Empress. He was also as emotional. Hua Yuao was puzzled as he looked at the Sky Dream Iceworm. The Ice Empress also glanced at him in the same way, but there was an extra weird look in her eyes. The Sky Dream Iceworm asked, Yuao, did you forget how I managed to survive for so long? Hua Yuao's body shook. You mentioned that you spent most of your time sleeping, and a million years passed just like that. I remember that you consumed some kind of ice essence and fell into a deep sleep. Don't tell me. Sky Dream nodded. That's right. The manifold mysterious ice essence that I consumed came from the manifold mysterious ice cavern. I discovered that place unintentionally. The essence of an ice cavern lies in the ice essence. I was just an iceworm, but I relied on the benefits of the ice essence to cultivate into a million-year-old beast. Ice also wanted to kill me because of this. Humph. The Ice Empress nodded. If you had let me have the ice essence then, the beast god might not be Detian. The Snow Empress would also. The Sky Dream Iceworm leisurely replied, Ice, stop whining. This is called fate and destiny. Are you looking for a beating? The Ice Empress nodded furiously, and the Sky Dream Iceworm immediately stopped making any sound. The Ice Empress turned to Hua Yuao and said, I didn't expect there to be a second manifold mysterious ice cavern in this world. Your luck is simply too good. Furthermore, this ice cavern is different from the one that Sky Dream encountered the other time. Hua Yuao was delighted. From the Ice Empress' agitated look, and how the Sky Dream Iceworm described the situation, he must have gotten extremely lucky. No matter what the difference was, it should be extremely beneficial to him. The Ice Empress said, the ice cavern that Sky Dream was in had a huge amount of manifold mysterious ice essence. That thing is very nourishing for ice-type soul beasts like us. It's a real treasure. It's of the same tier as your life gold. However, we didn't see any divine ice crystals. A manifold mysterious ice cavern is in fact formed when mysterious ice is converted into it under huge pressure after being hidden for more than 10,000 years. Hundreds of thousands of years, and even upwards of a million years might be needed for it to be formed. The right opportunities are also required. This ice cavern is filled with so many divine ice crystals. As for how much manifold mysterious ice essence can be produced, it's difficult to tell. However, there's bound to be some. I had a look over there earlier. There isn't any here. If it's not here, it should be in the well. It feels like this ice cavern isn't much smaller than the ice cavern that Sky Dream saw, even though it's smaller. If there's some ice essence here, it would be very useful for the four of us and you. The Ice Empress revealed yet another heavy look in her eyes when she spoke until here. She really wished that she had encountered this ice cavern before she had given up her body. If that were the case, everything would have been different. The Sky Dream Iceworm said, all right, Ice, don't think too much. Honestly speaking, one must be very fortunate to bump into a manifold mysterious ice cavern. I'm not afraid that you'll dislike my words, but both you and the Snow Empress don't have such fortune. You are only here because of Yuao. If you didn't choose to fuse with Yuao before, you wouldn't have been able to experience something as good in your entire life. This is why you shouldn't look for problems for yourself. What surprised Hua Yuao was that the Ice Empress wasn't furious after hearing the Sky Dream Iceworm's words. Instead, she nodded and mocked herself. Yes, I am indeed finding problems for myself. Let's not talk about this. Yuao, you must not give up such a rare opportunity. We must tap the resources here effectively. Hua Yuao nodded and said, Ice Empress, what is this divine ice crystal? What's its use for us? The Ice Empress replied, divine ice crystals might not be as valuable as manifold mysterious ice essence, but they're still extremely valuable. They are the strongest and toughest ice-type metal. They appear as crystals, but they possess the properties of metals. To put it in human words, a divine ice crystal is a top-grade rare metal. As for how their special characteristics are used, it will depend on the user. Hua Yuao was delighted, and said, it seems like Elder Nan Shui was right. The divine ice crystals here are very suitable for me. As he spoke, he lifted his right hand. His dark golden terraclaws revealed sharp, dark golden blades as he swept it towards the divine ice crystals. Piercing sounds resonated, and 5 streaks of sparks flashed. However, only shallow marks were left on the ice crystals. It was an extremely tough metal. It was pertinent to note that Hua Yuao would often use his terraclaws to sculpt his soul tools when he manufactured them. The sharpness and strength of his terraclaws were great, and they were one of his best defensive weapons. However, they weren't enough to damage the ice crystals. This showed how tough they were. Hua Yuao was confused as he looked at the Ice Empress. The divine ice crystal is so tough. How can we mine it? The Ice Empress smiled and said, there are many items that clash with one another, but there's always something that can overcome another thing. Don't worry, others might find it difficult to find a way, but it won't be difficult for us to leave with these crystals. You can't use your Life Guardian blade. It'll destroy the internal structure of the ice crystals. This divine ice crystal is in itself one of the best ice-type soul conductors and amplifiers. Try pouring your soul power into it. All right. Hua Yuao agreed to her words and retracted his terraclaws. He put his right hand on the ice crystals beside him. He was stunned that this ice crystal didn't feel cold even though the cavern was at such a low temperature. It was as if all its cold was contained within it. He slowly poured in his ultimate ice soul power. After this, his body shook, and he revealed a shocked look on his face. He could clearly sense an affinity when he poured his soul power into the ice crystal. Yes, it was an affinity. It was clearly a metal, but it seemed to have emotions. It felt very close to his soul power. After this, Hua Yuao felt the ice crystal in his hand softening a little. He tightened his 5 fingers and exerted strength as he pulled, and a huge piece of ice crystal was pulled out just like that. Once this piece of ice was separated from the cavern and landed in his hand, his body immediately emitted a deep blue glow. Light subtly flashed. It was as if the piece of ice crystal had a life of its own. You sense it, don't you? The Ice Empress asked. The reason why it's called the divine ice crystal is because it has evolved into a realm with some life of its own. Animals and plants have their own lives. For minerals and metals, they can exude their own life aura and emotions when they reach a certain quality. It's just that it's much more difficult for them compared to animals and plants. What you are sensing is correct. It's all real. If you want to dig out some ice crystals, there's only one way. Your ultimate ice soul power. You, me, and the Snow Empress can do it. Sky Dream can't do it, and Star Anise is slightly lacking too. Hua Yuao nodded and said, I'm using your power anyway. Why do I feel that it's no longer hard, but soft, yet resilient? It's as if. After speaking to this point, he paused for a moment and thought of a way to describe it before saying, it's as if it's a huge piece of crystal jelly. It's too magical. The Ice Empress nodded and replied, you must try to communicate with the life aura inside with your ultimate ice soul power. Such a life aura is also called an ice spirit in the extreme north. You can only try to retrieve it for now. It's only when you can fully communicate with it that you can completely own it. Don't think that just because there's a lot of ice crystals here, you can retrieve as many ice spirits as you want. Not many of them can nurture ice spirits. The remaining ice crystals can be dug out, but they don't have ice spirits. This means that there's a lack of spirit inside. You are in luck. This piece of ice crystal contains a life spirit. Seeing the flashing divine ice crystal in his hand, Hua Yuao's eyes brightened. He was in awe. The miracles of this world indeed have to be continuously explored. Ice Empress, what should we do now? The Ice Empress laughed. Isn't it obvious? Whether it's a divine ice crystal that has nurtured an ice spirit or not, it's still very valuable. Quickly, leave with them. The temperature of this place cannot be matched by the temperature of the outside world. I can sense that the icy spring has entered a state of deterioration. In another few hundred to few thousand years, the temperature here wouldn't be sufficient to maintain this manifold mysterious ice cavern. When that happens, everything here will be slowly damaged and destroyed. All right. Huo Yua acknowledged her words and started moving. How could he let go of so much good stuff? As his eyes flashed, a layer of gentle, icy jade green light was released from his body. It was his snowy dance of ultimate ice. His snowy dance of ultimate ice contained immense ultimate ice soul power, and quickly engulfed the entire cavern. Suddenly, the divine ice crystals in the cavern all lit up, and Huo Yua started to extract them. Without ultimate ice soul power, the price to pay for extracting even a small piece of ice crystal would be huge. Even an ultimate Duluo wouldn't be able to operate in such a low temperature. Furthermore, he wouldn't be able to communicate with the ice spirits. However, Huo Yua found it much easier to extract these ice crystals. Pieces of divine ice crystals were pulled out of the walls of the cavern. Not only were they preserved, but it also didn't take much effort for him to extract them. Without the need for the ice empress to remind him, he would differentiate the ice crystals with ice spirits from those that didn't have ice spirits, and stored them separately in his starlight sapphire ring. Divine ice crystals were very special. They contained immense ice type energy. However, they didn't feel cold on the surface. They only felt slightly colder than ordinary metals to the touch. However, one could guide the ultimate ice origin energy inside them just by pouring in one's soul power. Without ultimate ice soul power controlling the origin energy inside, it would instead be unleashed in an explosive manner. The reason why this cavern was so cold was because there would be times when the ice crystals would become unstable internally, causing a leak of their origin energy. This cavern had been filled with divine ice crystals for a long time. The accumulated cold caused this place to turn into a danger zone. As the pieces of ice crystal disappeared into Huo Yua's storage type soul tool, the temperature in the cavern rose noticeably. The surrounding walls also contained layers of crystals. They looked like huge pieces of ice sludge, and were also very sturdy. However, they were far inferior compared to the divine ice crystals. Finally, Huo Yua placed the last piece of divine ice crystal into his storage type soul tool. At this moment, he was suddenly jolted by something, and instantly turned around. He only saw a huge current of water surging towards him. Without the magical power of the ice crystals, the spring water finally surged into the cavern. Given that the door wasn't closed either, Huo Yua laughed. Both the Sky Dream Ice Worm and Ice Empress fused into his body. He forcefully swam upwards, outside the well. Nan Shuishui and Nan Qikai were already very anxious from waiting. It had been an hour since Huo Yua had descended into the well. However, they hadn't heard anything from the well yet. It had been a long time, and Nan Shuishui doubted that she would be able to hang on for so long if she were the one inside. However, both of them had a similarity. They had absolute confidence in Huo Yua's abilities. They had seen Huo Yua fusing with Wang Qiu's abilities before, and witnessed the great improvement in his abilities after he formed his sixth soul ring. Although Nan Shuishui wasn't completely confident that Huo Yua could deal with the extremely low temperature of the ice cavern, she deeply believed that Huo Yua wasn't going to be hurt in any way, given his 7 ring cultivation. Nan Qikai was slightly worried as she asked, "Mom, why don't you go down and take a look? It's been such a long time, but Yua still isn't coming up." Nan Shuishui smiled slightly and said, "Why? Are you anxious? It seems like my precious daughter really has fallen for someone. No matter how hard you work, you'll never be his wife. Why don't you try becoming his concubine?" Nan Qikai was stunned for a moment, then was in disbelief as she stared at Nan Shuishui. After this, she asked, "Mom, are you my biological mother? You're actually asking me to be someone's concubine?" Nan Shuishui laughed. "It's precisely because I'm your mother that I'm giving you this suggestion. At times, you can't think too highly of yourself. As people always say, it's difficult for guys to chase girls, but it's easy for girls to chase guys. There are many ways for a girl to earn the liking of a guy. I'm not literally asking you to be his concubine. I'm saying that if you really like him, you should try your best to chase him. I support you. If I can have such a son-in-law, I'll laugh even in my sleep." Nan Qikai's face turned red, and she replied, "No way. Who's going to chase him? You don't know that he's such a mule in terms of relationships. Apart from Wang Donga, he can't have anyone else in his heart. Didn't you see what happened with Wang Qiu? Qiu was so outstanding, but she could only be his sacrifice. She can't even be with him. This guy is very stubborn once he likes someone. Even a girl who looks like Wang Donga can't catch his eye. What about me? I'm not going to do that to myself." Nan Shuishui sighed and replied, "I know it's difficult. Hey, just do as you please. Matters of the heart can't be forced. However, I'm experienced in this matter. If you really like him too much, you must take the initiative. It's only then that you'll have an opportunity. If you choose to give up, you won't stand a chance at all." Nan Qikai was silent. She revealed a pensive look in her eyes. After a brief moment, she nodded silently. At this moment, the sound of splashing water could be heard. Following this, a figure flew out from the well. The intense chill caused Nan Shuishui and Nan Qikai to stagger backward a few steps. Huo Yua slowly revealed himself from the icy fog that covered him. "Yuao, are you fine?" Nan Qikai asked concernedly. Huo Yua shook his head and smiled at the both of them before saying, "I am. I'm very fine. This cavern is indeed a treasure ground. Elder Nan, you were right. There's indeed a special rare metal contained inside. Take a look." As he spoke, Huo Yua flipped his wrist, and a piece of divine ice crystal that hadn't nurtured an ice spirit appeared in his palm. The color of the divine ice crystal was clearly evident outside. It was icy blue, resembling the color of the sky, whereas the glow that it emanated was deep blue. Under sunlight, even such a small piece of divine ice crystal gave off an ethereal feeling. It was extremely magical. "Wow, it's beautiful." Nan Qikai squealed in delight. She wanted to touch it, but she was stopped by Nan Shuishui. Nan Shuishui had entered the cavern on her own before. She didn't dare to be impulsive with regards to the stuff inside it. Huo Yua smiled and said, "Elder Nan, it's fine. This metal is called a divine ice crystal. It indeed contains immense ultimate ice origin energy, but it's very stable. As long as you don't pour your soul power into it, things will be fine." As he spoke, he passed the crystal to Nan Qikai. Nan Qikai received the crystal and looked at it under the sun. Suddenly, the surrounding plot of ground under the crystal was covered by a layer of blurry blue light. Nan Shuishui smiled as she looked at Huo Yua and said, "Yuao, is this ice crystal useful to you? Can it be extracted?" Huo Yua nodded and answered, "I can do it. You need to possess ultimate ice soul power to extract this divine ice crystal. I've already extracted all the crystals from the cavern. This was why I took such a long time. Sorry to have made the both of you wait." Nan Shuishui smiled. "It's good as long as it's useful for you. Quickly, put it away. I hope your abilities will improve much further." As she spoke, she took the crystal from Nan Qikai's hand. After taking a look at it for a moment, she returned it to Huo Yua. After receiving the crystal, Huo Yua pondered for a moment before saying, "Elder, this crystal can only be molded and extracted using ultimate ice soul power. Don't worry, I won't steal what belongs to the Earth Dragon sect. When I turn them into soul tools, I'll give a share of the soul tools I produce with it to the Earth Dragon sect. What do you think? No matter what, this manifold mysterious ice cavern belongs to the Earth Dragon sect." Although Nan Shuishui mentioned that she was offering it to him, this gift was simply too precious. Nan Shuishui seemed to be unbothered. "In fact, I wanted to use this place as Qikai's dowry. However, I discovered you were the most suitable person to take control of this place after working with the Tang sect. Since I've decided to give you this place, you can choose what you want to do with it. You don't really have to distinguish between the Earth Dragon and Tang sect either. Don't call me elder either. You're Qikai's friend. You can call me auntie." Huo Yua could infer the double meaning from Nan Shuishui's words. However, he could only act stupid, and respectfully replied, "Thanks, auntie." He didn't go into the details of how to allocate these ice crystals. He would definitely compensate the Earth Dragon sect after he turned them into finished products. Actions spoke louder than words. Nan Qikai glanced at her mother before looking at him. She jumped excitedly towards Huo Yua and laughed. "Yuao, I don't care about others, but I demand to be part of it if you are using such a beautiful treasure to manufacture soul tools." Huo Yua smiled as he nodded and said, "Definitely. When I return, I'll start researching how to manufacture them." Nan Shuishui smiled and said, "All right, let's go then." Huo Yua replied, "Auntie, give me a moment. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.